We're talking, this is the second part of 3.1, and we're talking about median and mode. We've talked about mean already. So mean is the average, right? So arithmetic mean is like the average. We talked about that. And there are three measures of central tendency that we're studying in Chapter 3. And the first one is mean, the second one and third one are median and mode. So these are not difficult to understand. You'll appreciate the fact that these are not hard to understand. We just need to get some practice and understand how to work with them. So the median, first of all, a median is a middle number, the midpoint of an ordered data set. So that means if you have the all of the numbers ordered, either from least to greatest, or the other way around, greatest to least, the middle number, or the midpoint of that set of data, is called the median. So half of the values are higher, and half of the values are lower. This is the second measure of central tendency. So if you have a list of, let's say we have 3, 10, 21, 45, and 50. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. The middle number would be the third one. This is the median. Okay? So half of the data below and half above. Okay? So you're not including this number. You get it. It's symmetrical, right? It's the middle number. Okay, so if there is an even number of values, so it's the middle number, middle value, but what happens if there is an even number? Well, the median then is the average, or the mean, of the two middle numbers. So that's actually not that hard either, but it takes a little bit of work maybe. Let's say the list just looked like this. So the median would be right in here somewhere. Okay? And so what we do is we take 10, and we add 21, and we divide 2. So what's that? That's 31 divided by 2, which is 15.5. Okay? And so even though that number doesn't show up in the data set, this is now the median. That's the median. Okay? So with an odd number of numbers, it's the middle number. With an even number of numbers, it's the average between the two. Okay? So that's how you find median. Now, what about the last one? Mode. Okay, the mode. Now this one is, maybe not referred to as much as the median or the average or the mean, but the mode is the set, is the number that occurs, here it is, occurs most often in the list of numbers. So this is also a good measure of central tendency, because if most of the class gets an 85 average on a test, then 85 should be considered as representing the group, right? If most of the students get that. So we have to consider the mode. If something reoccurs more often, we have to take that into account. So if each number appears only once, there is no mode. So no mode if each number appears the same number of times, or let's say once. And there's one mode if one number occurs more than the others. And there could be a number of modes if two or more of the numbers appear most often. You know what I mean? So let's see, for example, 1, 1, 2, 5, 8, 10. So in this list of numbers, what is the mode? The mode is the number that appears most often in the list, and of course you've got 1 showing up twice, so the mode is 1, the number 1. Okay. Now, what is the median? Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the middle two numbers, we got to find the average between the middle two numbers. The median is going to be in here somewhere. So we go 2 plus 5 divided by 2. That's 7 over 2, or 3.5. So that is the median. Okay? Questions so far? All right. Okay, so here's an example. Calculate the median and the mode for each of the following data sets. Now, what we want to notice here is that these numbers are not listed in ascending order or descending order, and they have to be. In order for us to find that, we can't just take the middle number here, whatever it looks like to be. Oh, we're going to take the middle number and that's the median. No. It has to be arranged from smallest to largest. And remember, one of the ways we did that last lesson was to create a stem and leaf plot. So you have 20s, you have 30s, and you have 40s in here. So that's why they did a 2, a 3, and a 4 row. Then they just went along and put the second number, or the ones number, in the second column. So 2, put a 5 there. 2, they put a 3 there. 3, they put a 2 there, and so on. They just kept doing this number. 4, they put a 5 down there. And then before you know it, you fill in this whole chart, and then you can go ahead and say, okay, in order, we've got 22 is first, and I guess they probably did one more step. Oh, maybe not. Let me see. Yeah, sorry, this is the second step. So here's the first step. Here's the second step, where they now ordered these numbers over here in ascending order. And then you can go 22 is my lowest number. 23 is my next number, and so on. Remember this from last section, guys? Or from last lesson? Remember that? Stem and leaf. Yes? Hopefully. This is a one way of writing them in either ascending or descending order. So once you've got them in order, you have to do that first, and you've got them listed in order, now you look at how many numbers there are. In this case, there are 15 numbers. So you take a look at the 8th number, that's the very middle one. So this 33 would be the median. And if there's one that occurs most often, and if we look at that, let's see, they should be in order, so let's see. Oh yeah, look at 45. Shows up 3 times. So guess what? The mode is 45. Alright? And the same can be done for the second set. So let's do an example together. Now you can look back to these examples. Okay? So what is the median price? All right, well, is this in order, ascending order? It doesn't look like it. They're all over the place. Okay? So what are we going to do? Well, what we could do is make a stem and leaf plot. Okay, so number 9, do this along with me. Okay, number 9. Let's do stem and leaf, and we've got hundreds here, right? So we could do, we could focus on just the first, the hundreds, like 1200, 700, 800, 7, and so on. So we could do that, 16, 9, and then go from there. Right? If you have like under 10 numbers, it might be, okay, we don't have to do a stem and leaf if you don't want to. If you've got 5 or 6 numbers, or 7 even, you probably can just look at the list and say, okay, I see the smallest one, I'm going to write that one down first. So I tell you what, you don't have to do a stem and leaf plot every time. Okay? You don't have to. And in this case, let's not. You know why? Because we can glance over here and we could probably do this just manually. So the smallest number is what? I've got a 755. That looks like the smallest number, and it appears twice. So guess what? Let's do 755, comma, 755. Let's write those down. Each of them have to be written down. Those look to be the smallest ones, so let's cross them off. Okay, what's the next largest one? Oh, 845. Cross it off. Look at what's left, and 909 is next. So a stem and leaf plot, for a large number of numbers, yeah, might be good, but this will probably take us a little less time. 1272 is next. Then 1388. Then 1682. Okay, so did I do this right? Does that look right? We can quickly look over the numbers. We've got the right number of numbers. It looks like they're in ascending order, correct? Okay, so the median price, what's the median price? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. An odd number of numbers, so we go to the halfway, so that's the 4th number. Guess what? This is the median right here. Okay, so the 4th number out of the 7 would be the median price. So that's, I guess we should, do this officially. $909. Okay, is the median. What is the mode now? The number that appears most often, and again, if you list them, you can easily see this. The mode is $755. Yes. Okay, good. Pretty easy, right? Pretty easy? Okay, so let's move to example 5 together, and we'll take a look at this one. Now, we are asking now for the mean, the median, and the mode, and then you're going to be asked a different question. Which measure of central tendency best represents the average tip Alexis received? So in this question, Alexis is a hairstylist in Victoria. In one shift, she earned the following number of tips: $5, $2, $0, $20, $19.65, $7.89, $8.50, and $5. Okay, what's the mean tip Alexis received? So that's the average, right? Now you do not have to have the numbers in ascending or descending order in order to find the average. You don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. So we could find this one right away without reordering the numbers. So let's do that. And again, this is how you do that on your calculator. You add up all the numbers first. So we're going to do 5 plus 2 plus 0 plus 20 plus 1965 plus 7.89 plus 8.5 plus 5. Okay? If it's $5 even, you don't have to put 0.00. If it's $8.50, you just have to put 8.5. You don't really have to put the 0. Okay? The calculator doesn't care. Okay, so did I get all those numbers correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we add all those up. What do we get? Now, is this our mean? Is this the mean? No, why not? What do I have to do? I have to divide by the number of numbers that I added. So again, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have to include the 0, okay? And it's divided by 8. So 8.505. So that's going to be rounded to the nearest cent, right? We're talking about dollars and cents, so let's round it to the nearest cent. That's 8.51. Okay, and here they go right here on the solution. They actually show that for you. So we've done this, and it's 8.51. Okay, so again, this is just an example, so I won't do everything from scratch. I'll just walk you through the solution that's given here. But B says, what's the median? So again, when you're looking for the median, you have to arrange the numbers. I would suggest from smallest to largest. It's always a good idea. Go from small to large. So however you want to do that, stem and leaf plot, or again, this is not a lot of numbers, so you can start with the smallest one, stroke it off the list, then go to the next one, stroke it off the list, and so on. So there's 8 numbers. That's 8 numbers. That's an even number of numbers. So the median is going to be the average between the middle 2. You see that? That's why they have both those underlined there. If there is no exact middle number, you have to find the mean between the middle 2. So the mean of these middle 2 would be you add them up and you divide by 2 and you get 645. That's the median right here. Okay? $6.45. All right, so going back to the question, it says, what is the mode here for C? What's the mode? Now, the $5 price appears more often than the other one. So there's a 5 and there's a 5. That's the only one that's repeated. So the mode is $5. $5. It is the mode. Now the last question, which is the best? Oh, I went the wrong way. The last question, what? Where am I? The last question says, which central tendency is the best? So would you take the mean or the median or the mode? Which is the best? So this you know, it's kind of your opinion, okay? It's your opinion. But let's see what they say. The mean is not a good measure because for this data set, 851 is quite a bit higher than the other two. Look at, here's the median, 645, and here's the mode, 5. So the average 851, they said, is not very good because it's really different than the other ones. The median and the mode could both be good representations of Alexis's average tip because they're closer together. So that's one way of deciding which one would be best. Now you may think, well, if you say the mode of 5 represents, you're not taking into account the $19 she got and the $20 tip she got. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's important to know too. So where is that, right? So it's up to you. I mean, average is taken most often in most things, right? What's the class average? What's the average height? What's the average whatever, right? It's usually average or the mean. But, like I say, sometimes either really low scores or really low tips or really high tips can really affect the average. And that maybe that's not a great, right? So one more time, if you go back to this list and you think there's really only 2 that are super high. All the rest of them are, under 10, right? Well under 10. So these 2 are really affecting the average. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So build your skills. Let's do one together, and then you can have some time to finish the rest. So Elliot is a real estate agent in Regina. Past 6 months, he has sold houses for the following prices. Okay. So here's the list. We could do a stem and leaf plot. Again, it's under 10 things, so maybe we don't have to. It might save us time if we don't. But so calculate the mean. Okay, mean, median, and mode. All right. So it doesn't matter what you do first if you order them. I'm going to order them first. So then we can calculate all 3 once we have the list here. So what's the smallest one? We got 265, 59, 76, 300, 500. Okay, so it looks like 219 is the smallest. Does that look right? So 219, 305. Okay, that's the smallest one. Then we've got what? 265? Nope, 259. So 259.9. Okay. Then we've got 265. Get that one off the list. Then we've got 271. 271 is next. 271, 895. Then it's 276, right? 276. Then 295. Then 301. And then 519. 519.9. All right. Okay, so then you go over your list, real quick, and you say, all right, did I get all the numbers? So there's 2, 4, 6, 8 numbers. 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers, good. And if you look at that list real quick, do they go in ascending order? They get larger each time? Yeah, they get larger. Okay, so once we've got that done, we're going to need to do that anyways, so let's start adding these up. So on your calculator, you would go 219, 305. Plus, and I'll let you do that on your own here now. Alright, so for a mean, if you add up all these numbers, and I think I've done this correctly, add them all up, and you get 2.4 million, about 2408000, and you divide by the number of numbers that you added, that's 8, you should get 301,000. Is that, anybody else get that number? Yes? Yes. Okay. So that's the mean. That's the mean. Now, the median and mode are easy now because we have them listed in order. So the median is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, so we have to take now the average of the middle 2 numbers. Okay, so 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like these 2 are the middle 2 numbers now. So the median is going to be the sum of these 2 divided by 2. Find the average or the mean of those. Divided by 2. Now notice I kind of do one thing at a time, one operation at a time. I did the top, and I hit equals, and then I divided by 2. And you don't get it messed up with order of operations on your calculator. But so I get 273, 947.50. 947.50. Anyone else get that number? 273, 947.50 cents.
229.
Sorry?
I 273,
271,
929.
895. Is that right? 271, 895 plus 276,000 divided by 2. Okay, we'll just double check that. Okay, so yeah, this should be the number here, the median right here. The average of the middle two numbers, or the mean of the middle two numbers gives you the median. And finally, the mode, if we look at the mode, that's the number that appears most often. And do we have the same number that appears more than once? Doesn't look like it, so it looks like there's no mode. You guys agree with that? No mode. Because there isn't one number that appears more than any of the other numbers. All right, so now we come to this question of which measure of central tendency do you think is the best, and explain. So what kind of answers could we give? Let me hear what you guys think. Which one do you think is the best, and why? Obviously mode. Mode maybe not going to work, right? So not mode. There's no mode. So what about the mean and the median? Which one do you think would be a better measure to use?
I think mean, because it's like the average of how much money he sold the houses to people for.
Okay, so you're saying the mean. You would say the mean because it takes into account all the lower numbers and all the higher numbers. And okay, yeah, that's fine. Anybody argue for the median being the best? There. What about if someone says this? Watch this. Now, here's an argument for the median. Are you ready? This is what I would say for the median. If you look at all these numbers, all but 2 are in the 200,000s. All of them, but 2. So wouldn't the median be a better measure for this set? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses that are in the 200,000s, and only 2 that are not, and yet the average is not in the 200,000s. So an argument for the median was, you would say, I like this one, because most of the house prices are in the 200,000s. So I think that would be a better measure of central tendency. Okay, so the average is fine, takes into account the low and the high, and everything else in between. But this one, there would be an argument for the median as well, maybe. Okay, so that's something I want you to think about. And that's up to you to write down your answer for B. And when you're done that, I want you to go ahead and finish all of the Build Your Skills questions for this section, all the way up to 13. Yeah, 13. Because we have Practice Your New Skills starting after that. So all the way up to 13. So 1 to 13 from the very beginning of 3.1 here. That's what I need you to have done for tomorrow. Okay? 3.1. All the Build Your Skills questions from 1 to 13.